Hey everyone, you're listening to Midlife Matters, the podcast for women parenting teens and young adults. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Mindy and Julie to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about ways to calm and refresh your home. I don't know about you, but I have to take some time every year after the busyness of the holiday to get my home back in order. January is always the perfect time to take stock of what you have in your home and how you'd like things to change or improve. Let's get started. I'm so excited to talk to you because one, we haven't recorded since before Christmas, the three of us together. So that's always fun to just get back into routine. And two, I just want to know what's been going on.
No, because Julie and I have been a lot of places, I feel like, since we were last year. So I'd love to hear about Julie and the happiest place on earth. Or
Yeah, we did go to Disney. Well, we went to Universal for 2 days, and then we followed that up with 3 days at Disney with all of our kids. And Molly got to come. Her husband wasn't able to come, but she did get to meet us for a few days. So that was fun, all being together.
Nice.
And
That is
yeah,
really fun.
It was fun. And it was 80 degrees and sunny.
Perfect.
So
Yes.
so as soon as we fly back into Nashville, total clouds, drizzle, and 45.
Yes.
So so it was nice. I do love winter, but it was fun to have a week of really summer. I mean, it was full on summer.
Yeah.
That was exactly our experience with going
With
on
the
the cruise. Yes. We sailed out of Baltimore, which is a beautiful city.
So just for our listeners, Mindy, you went on a cruise between Christmas and New Year's with your whole family.
Yes, right after Christmas, actually December 30th, we sailed out of Baltimore and we came back January 6th. So we
Amazing.
went to the Bahamas and Princess Cays, and it was just the six of us and our family that went. We thought, hey, this is a great time to get out of our townhouse because it gets a little tight for six people with Abby Ray home.
Mhm.
And we were thinking New England winter would be pretty hard right about then, so it might be nice to get some warm weather. But yeah, 80 degrees, sunny, gorgeous. We all got some sun, some freckles.
Aw.
And we came back actually just a week ago, Sunday, and then everybody just got sick.
Oh.
Well, I just saw a story where they had to disembark a whole cruise ship for some kind of virus that hit 400 people.
Yeah, they think it was the notavirus. Bryce sent me a link and said, hey, aren't you glad that wasn't us? I was like, yes.
That would be awful.
It just takes one person.
Did you play shuffleboard?
Did we play shuffleboard?
Yes.
I am so sorry, Julie. We did not play your favorite game on the...
You have to go back.
But okay, that's what we'll do. No, but we just had a blast. We absolutely had a blast, the six of us, getting out, spending that kind of time together, because you can kind of have your own things to do on the cruise ship, but then we would come back together every night for dinner. And we would see each other different parts of the day. And then the days that we were in ports, we spent together. But really, it was kind of nice. You had some space. You got to see people.
Yeah.
Didn't you enjoy the dinners, though?
Oh, the dinners.
The dinners together?
If I could say what my favorite thing was, it was dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dinners every single night together, 2 hours long. It was fabulous. And I was even surprised my kids were really adventurous in some of the foods they picked to eat. And it was fun. It was an adventure.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
What about you, Marie? You were at the beach.
Yes, we also took a family trip. I think family trips must have been the theme of this Christmas break. We got away with my married daughter and her husband, my college-age son and his girlfriend, and then the three kids that still live at home. So there were 9 of us, and we wanted to celebrate our 25th anniversary while we were down there and also ring in the new year. So we have not been away over, the week between Christmas and New Year's in a few years. And I forgot what a fun time that is to get away. It's end of the year, so Steve's off from work and more relaxed. There were a lot of people traveling down there. We were able to ride our bikes and just enjoy the warm weather. It was about 69. I mean, you couldn't really go in the ocean, obviously, but I had picked a place that had a hot tub and a heated pool, so I just wanted to allow for some water activities, and it was fun. We had a really good time. Well, I am so excited about today's topic because I could geek out forever on how to calm and refresh your home. I love purging, getting rid of things, all that kind of stuff. So we're not talking about decorating per se. We're talking about what steps do you or can you take to make your space more soothing and welcoming. I wanted to just ask you guys some questions and weigh in on them myself because I do love this topic. But I think the first thing, because it's different for everyone, is what does organized look like for you? I've been in Julie's pantry before. It is organized to a T. And other people are just like, well, as long as something's in one area, that's good enough for me. So what is your own personal organizational style?
All right, maybe I'll go first on this because I'm going to already be convicted by hearing what Julie has to say. And I'm just going to go first so that I don't feel as bad talking.
Set the bar low, Mindy, just like you did with the Christmas stockings.
You know what? I'm going to be very realistic. You say organized and I want to gag. I'm like, ugh. Like people that are totally in love with the Container Store, which is my husband. I'm like, that place is, oh, see? Yeah, you and Bryce. That is not me. So Bryce does have a label maker. We got it for him for a gift one year. I will never use it.
Now, wait, we just need to put a poll out there.
Yeah.
How many husbands of listeners asked for and use a label maker? I'm going to guess that it's 0.001%.
That would be my husband, and that is so not me. However, organized to me means that there's no clutter, that surfaces are clean and clear. If I have to move stuff around a lot to be able to use something, it's going to be tossed or given away or gone. So organized to me, I am very clean. To me, things have to have a spot and it has to be usable and functional. Really, I just have to be able to clean it. If there's a lot of stuff that I have to move around to clean an area, it's gone.
Okay. How about you, Julie?
Well, I would say I think along those lines too. I like my closets neatly organized. Like my house could look very neat and organized, but if I knew my closets were overstuffed and things were going to fall out when you opened it, I would feel a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of more about organizing the behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I don't like a lot of stuff on the surfaces. And sometimes it gets that way, where you have to move everything to dust and or you don't even have a place to set your cup of coffee.
Right.
I don't like that. And I like neat bookcases. So we have a lot of books. We have 3 rooms with built-in bookcases.
Oh, wow.
And so I do go and purge those every once in a while. I don't tend to keep paperback books. We keep books that mean something to us. But I like some room to decorate the shelves too, to kind of style them. And lastly, I would say definitely a place for everything. And when my husband listens to this driving home from work, he's probably going to wreck the car because he would think, you don't put anything back in the tray place. But that is what I aspire to. Like, I would like to know that if I said, go get the scissors, that everybody in the house would know where those scissors are. Not just me.
Right.
But that everybody would know. And I just want a place for everything. And I am working toward that. I was reading about this subject and I read that people spend 3,600 hours, that's 153 days of their life, looking for misplaced items. And I feel like I'm probably a lot higher than that.
Oh, wow. 153 days of their life?
Yes. And that they misplace 9 things a day on average. And I'm pretty
sure that's all of my sons. Like, I think it's a motherhood gift that you know where things are.
Right. I'm very similar to Mindy. I aspire to be like Julie's pantry in that I do have a place for things, but they have a contained space. And my example is like maybe we have bookshelves and under the bookshelves, I have closed door storage where I keep the books that I don't want to display. And inevitably, you get too many books for under there. And so as soon as that's too full, I'll purge it. But if you were to open it up, even right now, there may be a couple books that fell out at you. It's too full. I need to go through it. Or pantry-wise, there is something for each shelf, but, you're going to have to look on the shelf. It may not be in an exact place. So there is a method to everyone's madness. I think it's just discovering what is your personal, what makes you feel okay about it.
Right. It's whatever your
I tried
threshold
alphabetizing the cans one year, and that didn't work.
Oh, Julie.
I never could find anything, and that nobody else could. So I thought, well, maybe I'll put them in alphabetical order. And yeah, that didn't work.
No.
All right. So bringing us up, what kind of a room calms you? What does it look like?
Well, for me, I'm a little different in that I like to think I'm maybe a minimalist, but I'm not. I go for cozy. Okay. Cozy is what I aspire for in my house. It's got to have warm lighting. Mm-hmm. And so John has installed dimmers on all of our light switches in the house. I hate to use the overhead light, like different levels of lighting, usually on dim, and have lots of candles, warm colors, lots of wood. Mm-hmm. I'm not a minimalist, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, you do cozy, and you do it so well, Julie, for sure.
Well, thanks. Have you guys read the book, the little book of Hygge?
I have read it. Yes.
Okay, that is just one of my favorite books that I'm into right now. It's The Danish Secrets to Happy Living. Hygge means well-being, which translated, like the closest word that we have is hominess. So that's kind of what I go for, is just kind of a homey feel. And there's really no faster way to Hygge than lighting candles. And if you know me at all, you know that I absolutely love candles. Marie gave me a candle this Christmas. So yeah, I think the lighting is real important to me. Like they say, the lower the temperature of your lights, the more Hygge. And that's why I had a real problem when LED lights came out. I hated that white, bright light. But they have improved. Now you can buy, I think, 2 different shades, like natural light and warm light. So it has gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good book. I'll put a link to that in our show notes, because this is the perfect time of year to put some hominess into your home.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Mindy, what kind of a room calms you?
I actually, when I thought about this, I immediately pictured my living room from our Knoxville, Tennessee house. As I started describing it, it was that exact room. I love a room with high ceilings, lots of windows, but it can't be too big and that it becomes cold and overwhelming. It has to be very comfy with the furniture, very neutral tones with just kind of pops of color, but just very neutral. And the windows need to look only at nature. There can't be any houses or buildings. I've got to see some trees, not too many trees, and lots of sky. Okay. And so in my living room back in Knoxville, which, by the way, the house is for sale. If anybody is interested, let me know. It's a beautiful room.
Right.
I would sit on the couch in there, and I remember longing when I was even running errands to come back to that room and sit and look out the windows. And I would just, on summer days, I'd watch the clouds go by. When I had time, I would watch thunderstorms, lightning flashing through those windows because they were 2-story windows. I absolutely loved it. I loved watching the rain fall, the snow fall, the trees sway back and forth. There was just something so calming about that particular room that even if I had 5 minutes to take a break, I would sit and make sure I was facing the windows so that I couldn't see anything else.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so, that does sound nice. Both of those descriptions sound nice. When I was thinking about what kind of a room calms me, I definitely said light colors. And this is not something that I've always had in all my homes. But if I was thinking of a room that calms me right now, it would have light colors, simple decorations, open spaces, empty surfaces, minimal window coverings, and they're all open. I do not like to have closed curtains or closed blinds during the day.
Yeah. Same here too.
I love to have throw blankets.
Yes.
I like to have pillows. I like to have books. And I like to have things that serve a variety of purposes. So I don't know. I like multifunctional items. So whether they're tables or side tables or baskets, that's just my own personal preference. But it's fun to think about what kind of a room calms you because it's almost like you immediately get a sense of peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you weren't allowed to purchase anything, what are some of the things you would do to make your space feel new or more calming for yourself?
I love thinking about this because we've moved so much that even if I stay in a house for several years, I get antsy that I have to move things around. So we absolutely just get rid of stuff. We get rid of clutter. When I want my space to feel new again, I move the furniture around, I clean out the clutter, I throw things away, I repurpose things. And it is such a great way to use your space differently. Even if you like the way that the furniture was set up before, just having it different for a couple of weeks or months just helps you utilize the space differently. And so I always love that. There's always something that you can do. And then you're able to clean under things. You're able to really get, and that just makes me feel better knowing that under the couch has been vacuumed. Nobody's going to know that, but I feel really great knowing that.
I could relate.
Definitely. Yes.
Julie, what kinds of things would you do?
Well, my very favorite thing in the world to do is move furniture around. But I've kind of gotten to a place in this house because we've been here 20 years where I know all the possible combinations.
Wow.
And I'm kind of locked into where we are because of the size of our furniture and the shape of the room and everything. So now what I do is reorganize all my accessories. And I found that a fun way to do that is to take away all the stuff off the surfaces and sometimes even the walls, and put them all in maybe on the dining room table, and then shop your house. Like go and shop, and then because you may have forgotten about something or something that was in an upstairs bedroom, you might bring back down to the living room, or and it's like you have all new stuff again because you don't see that stuff that's tucked away upstairs or whatever. So I like to move things around, re-accessorize, and sometimes if I just can't find a place for something, that means it's time to just pack it away or get rid of it. Like, oh, this doesn't really need to be out anymore. And so I get rid of it. And I recently did that with our outdoor space. We had painted our porch brick white, and I had a lot of color out there. And I just thought, oh, it just needs so updating. I want this neutral look. And I looked into recovering all my couch cushions, and that was going to cost a lot of money. And so I just ended up moving a rug, a neutral, like a seagrass rug out there, and changing out some pillows that were on the couches because they were kind of a neutral green, like a sagey green. And it looks so good. Like it's totally looks like a new room, which is very few changes.
That makes you feel so good when that happens. I kind of feel like Julie too, like I've kind of locked in. I love to rearrange furniture, but with the size of my rooms and the fact that I've tried to make as much seating as possible, like the room we watch TV in. Well, it's got a huge sectional, and it can really only go on 2 walls. And I'm not going to move like where the cable and all that hookup stuff is. So I'm kind of locked into how it's going to be. Or same thing in my living room. I've kind of tried it different ways and decided, well, I kind of like it this way. So I do like the idea of just kind of shopping my house, rethinking things. Almost always what I need to do is get rid of things, not bring more things in. That's kind of good if you're not trying to spend a lot of money. Just think about what you could get rid of and it'll already look different to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love that. And I love how Julie said that, shop your house, because all of our major furniture is neutral, but the accessories then are the pops of color. So like changing even pillows from one room to another gives it a completely different look. Or the rugs, I would switch my rugs around.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to think about what is our personal threshold for too much stuff? When do you mentally say enough is enough and I need to do a clean out? And maybe not getting to the point where I've gotten to before, and I'm sure other moms can relate, like I had a mom say one time she felt bad about it later, but she said she just got to the breaking point with the amount of toys and the kids wouldn't clean them up. So she just started sweeping the toys out into the yard. Polly Pockets, Barbies, and the kids are going, Mom, Mom! She's like, I can't take it anymore. So we don't want to get to that point.
Mom's losing it.
But I know we've all been there before. So our personal threshold that falls just below having a meltdown.
The breaking point.
Well, mine would be stuff falling out of closets, a closet even to capacity. I like to open it up and see that there's still more room to put something in there. And if stuff's not easily accessible, like if I have to move 10 things to get to one thing, then there is too much stuff in there. And also when I start seeing unlike things together, this is just a hodgepodge of junk. And it may be junk that I keep, but I like to keep like things together.
Right.
That's when I like to start reorganizing. And I'll just start with one closet at a time, one cabinet at a time.
Right.
I don't usually have to go on a house-wide.
No. You know that one area that is really needling you.
Yeah, it tends to be the same closet, too. It's this one closet in our hall that I could clean that thing out every 3 months. So about 3 years ago, went to the Container Store, my favorite store.
Oh my!
And I bought matching stackable containers. They were clear with snap-on lids. Took everything out of that closet and organized it into boxes. There's probably 12. And now when I open it, it's just these 12 matching boxes labeled. And it's mostly stuff like batteries, my knitting stuff, my watercolors, the craft stuff, beading supplies, hot glue guns, things like that.
So really, Julie, before you started saying, I thought, oh, her messy family just ruining that hall closet every 3 months. But these are your own supplies. I don't think John's getting the knitting stuff out, the watercolors.
Right. See, I am the messy one. I tend to just throw things in, and that closet would just get junkier and junkier. So now it has stayed, with minor cleaning spells every few months, but it has stayed clean because I know I have a box that says battery. So why would I put it in the knitting box? Like, it just forces me to put it, and there's really no shelf space left because it's all boxes. So I can't just throw something in there anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's really helped.
Yeah. What's your personal threshold, Mindy?
Well, we've transitioned enough in life that we are constantly going through our stuff and even changing spaces for our stuff. I've quickly adapted to, things have a place. This is how we use this space. And I have found that if I set it up, kind of like Julie, if you set a plan for the space, you tend to keep the plan for the space. So I guess I have a very low personal threshold. Things do not go very long without me giving my attention to it, to cleaning it out. And plus right now we live in a very small space. And so attention to detail and being organized is of the utmost importance so that we can function. Otherwise, if I'm getting stressed about something that's material, it's got to go. It doesn't last very long. Honestly, I could almost put a time limit on my personal threshold for stuff, and it's like a week.
Okay, well, good.
If it's kind of bothered me for a week, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, Mindy, it sounds like you are organized. You just never let it get to the point where you have to deal with it like that. So I think that's great.
Totally forced on me. This was not me living in my parents' house. If my mom and dad listen to this, they're going to think back to my horrible, messy room that when they would tell me to clean it, I would stuff it all under my bed, every last bit, and run out the door. So yeah, note that Mindy no longer exists because of life circumstances.
Right. Well, my personal threshold is basically it's outgrown the space that I've allotted for it, just like you guys have said. But also, this may have happened to other people, and it happened to me this week. I have a hall closet that I'd kind of let get out of hand. I mean, I knew where the stuff was, but the whole floor space was pretty much covered. It's where we keep our coats. And I went to get the vacuum out, and I see this pile of black leather and white. So I gingerly gingerly pick up a bag and I see all these holes in it. So obviously this animal, and I look over at my cat, and I'm like, I really don't think he could have done that. Plus he doesn't really spend any time in here. So I think, oh my goodness, I probably have a mouse. So I run to the door with that bag and I throw it out into the garage for Steve to deal with when he comes home. And I start trying to clean up. But anyways, when Steve got home, he looked in that bag and that mouse had chewed through. It was a travel bag that I used. I would just take it when I would go like on airplanes. So that mouse had eaten through my bag and then eaten through the Southwest Peanuts package that was sealed, because sometimes you get those peanuts, you just throw them to the bottom of your bag. It eaten every single peanut out of there. And I probably had at least 2 or 3 packets of peanuts in there. But it wasn't like it was a food closet. It was a coat closet. It's just, I don't know. It just indicated to me this closet needs a major clean out. And lesson to our listeners, do not store any foods in your purses or bags, even if you think they're sealed. I would have never thought that a mouse could smell peanuts sealed in a bag. We did end up catching that mouse that night. We put a trap out, and then we've put a trap out 2 nights after that, and we haven't caught one. So I think it was just the one.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing that I heard this week on a different podcast, they were talking about organization, and she mentioned that she was moving. And I thought, you know what? She said something about, would I take this in my move? And that's a great question to ask. And I started thinking about that this week. I need to just go around. I'm not moving, but I've lived here for 15 years this March in this house. And before that, I'd moved every 2 years. So naturally, I didn't tend to collect tons. But I need to go around and say to myself, would I move this? And if not, it should go.
I just tend to look around. I just tend to look around and say, "Oh, we could never move." There's not enough manpower to move all this stuff.
Well, that's one way to get you to stay.
But at least it's organized.
All right. So this time of year, everyone's talking about paring down or reorganizing. And how does this make you feel? I know that there are certain personalities where even just the thought of, okay, get out there and organize your stuff, they immediately shut down. Mindy, you said that it makes you feel bad just to hear the word organize.
Well, I guess I always thought of myself as unorganized, but hearing myself talk, I think I'm probably a little more organized than I gave myself credit for, at least now.
Yeah.
That has developed over time. But when people start talking about that, I just kind of zone out. Since we have moved recently, and since we move often enough that I go through all of my things every 4 or 5 years, this is a non-issue. I'm already doing that. So hearing people talk about it doesn't stress me out. I'm more just kind of like, yeah, I do that all the time.
No, I can definitely see that. Moving frequently really cuts down on that. Julie, how about you? How does it make you feel? Are you excited by it?
I get excited about it because I just like to get a fresh start and know everything's clean and organized. And in the summer, we spend a lot of time outside, and I do a lot of the yard work. And so this is the time of year I can just focus on the inside. My time's not divided by organizing the garage or cutting the grass or planting flowers or weeding the garden or whatever, So this is the time to really I look at it as the time to take care of this before all that comes around.
Yes. I think we already established that I get super excited about it. I even asked for home books for Christmas. And so I just wanted to share. I have not read this book yet, but I heard about it on another podcast. And so I asked for it. It's called The Real Simple Method to Organizing Every Room and How to Keep It That Way. And that's put out by Real Simple Magazine. And I figured, well, even if I don't gain a lot of tips, isn't the cover pretty? I mean,
I would never even pick that book up off the shelf. Never in a million years.
Well,
because that qualifies as a self-help book.
It does. It does. I'm like, yeah, that's nah.
I am for sure going to read it, but then I'm also going to use it, as I said before, in my most calming room. Books are a decoration. I love books. And then this other one, Cozy Minimalist Home. More style, less stuff. Love it. First of all, I think the cover's beautiful.
Yes.
Second of all, I love the title.
If you didn't have that book, you would already have less stuff.
I know, but I love
Right?
books. So anyways, if you are looking for 2 books, I will put these both in the show notes.
I might like that one since it's combining cozy and minimalist.
Yes, Julie, I think you would.
You guys are killing me.
Mindy, I cannot imagine. I know that you like to rearrange furniture and decorate. Do you not own one home decorating book?
I do not. I absolutely love to decorate, though. I do, but I will never read a book about it. They are beautiful covers on those books, though, I must say.
Yes.
And books are very Hygge, Marie. So
yes.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I just need to get the Hygge book and place it on top of these 2 other, and I'll have 3 beautiful books for somewhere in my home.
You know, like Bryce throws things away a lot, and unfortunately or fortunately, sometimes there are things that the kids or I may have wanted, but he'll look at me like, yeah, we don't need that. Toss.
Well, I am guilty of doing that for other members of my family. In particular, Steve, if he listens to this podcast, one of our biggest fights, well, not one, I mean several, but one of our earliest fights was about me going through his stuff, throwing away things that I did not think that he needed anymore.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Bryce is usually the worst about it, but I am the one that threw away the most important thing.
Oh,
totally by accident. When we had our 4th child, Nathaniel, we came home from the hospital and I accidentally threw away Bryce's wedding ring.
What?
Because, okay, this is a whole funny story.
First of all, why was it off? That's really his fault.
I know. Because he and my dad, several weeks before, had gotten online and were looking up these like tungsten rings. Like it was this new metal kind of ring. And Bryce was like, oh, that's really cool. My dad was like, yeah, I just got one. It's super awesome. It's indestructible and all this stuff. He's like, hey, yeah, let's buy it. And so they're on eBay, you know, or whatever. And so my dad hits to buy it. So it comes in the mail. Right. So then I stick the tungsten ring in our bag to go to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, I'll present it to Bryce, you know, like, hey, here's your ring that you and my dad bought together.
Right after the birth of our 4th child.
Right
that all makes sense.
Yeah, I know. It was
He's
a goofy
supposed
thing
to be giving you a gift, Mindy.
Oh, it was hilarious, though, because him and my dad really did pick it out together.
Right.
I had nothing to do with it. Okay, so he tries it on at the hospital. I did not realize he put his ring into the box of the tungsten box and put it back in the bag. So when I got home a week later, my threshold hit and I'm like, this bag needs to be cleaned out. Like all the, you know, the formula coupons and like all this stuff I'm tossing. I'm like, oh yeah. And he kind of liked that tungsten ring. So I'll just throw the box away. He was wearing it. Like he just decided to wear the tungsten ring and like, hey, let's just see if I like it. I didn't open it.
Goodness.
It is in the trash. It's long gone. So he's married to my dad to this day.
Okay. Well, he really can't ever throw anything out that matches that. So even if you get annoyed, you really have no leg to stand on.
No.
Well, I'm sure John would want me to tell this story. I was cleaning out DVDs and my husband bought SpongeBob DVDs when our kids were younger, which I absolutely loathe SpongeBob.
I hate SpongeBob.
Yeah, I hate it too.
I said, you know, once the kids aren't watching this anymore, they're out of here. They're going to Goodwill. Right. And so I probably got rid of, I mean, it was a stack. And guess who was the most upset? John. Why would you do that without asking? And I guess he thought, you know, he was going to present them to our grandkids one day. And I thought that's exactly why I'm getting rid of them, because I hate SpongeBob. So he was pretty upset about that. So he hasn't let me live that down. Like, don't go through my stuff without asking me.
And, you know, would you have even thought that the SpongeBob DVDs went under the heading of John's stuff? I would have thought that was family stuff and perfectly open for you to clear out.
Exactly. Thank you, Marie.
Hey, at least he still has his wedding ring.
Yeah, we're still married.
He should be grateful.
That's too funny. That is too funny. Well, this is kind of a little bit different thought, but what are some things that you do to calm and refresh your home that aren't able to be seen from the outside? So I know that we kind of already talked about closets and drawers.
Right.
But I was thinking about some things that I've done since January 1st. I cleaned out my recipes. I never buy a cookbook. I'll just print out the recipe online or something. So I kind of have them all in a binder, but I wasn't using any of them. And when I went to go make something, I was bogged down with all this stuff that I thought I might make. Then I feel guilty I never made it, or I wonder, should I make it? So I kind of just cleaned it out. I cleaned out my email box while I was waiting for my daughters to get their hair cut. And I just unsubscribed from a lot of junk. I got a new calendar, which can make a difference. Cleaning out your car. Your purse. So what are some things that you guys do to kind of make yourself feel more calm in life?
Well, we actually just did this on Saturday. I wash everything, and I just feel so much better. And so like with bedding, I clean every piece of bedding, every blanket. We wipe down every surface. We vacuum under everything. All the things that you can't see, like something, I just mentally feel better, feeling like every germ has been vanquished.
Right.
Vacuuming the mattresses, cleaning out the fridge. I clean out my van every time we get out. Like you have to take your stuff with you.
That's a great habit.
At that moment. My purse, probably a week goes by and then I'm getting rid of, receipts. Gum wrappers and receipts.
Yeah. No, that's great. And see, that just proves again, Mindy, that you stay on top as you go.
I do.
Yeah, I feel like a slob now.
Uh-oh.
All right, Julie, what have you been doing?
Okay, John jokes that I'm a survivalist because I could live out of my car for weeks by the stuff that's in there. And when he gets in, he just gets so frustrated. I can't even drive this thing. There's not even a place to set anything. And there's cups and food and
gum, Julie.
Oh gosh.
Uh-oh.
I think I stuck a piece of gum on maybe on the gear shift.
You think? I think John said you definitely did that.
Oh no.
Well, it was an emergency situation. And then I forgot to clean it up, which is usually how it happens. I always think I'm going to clean this up before John sees it.
What could the gum emergency be that you have to stick it on the gear shift?
I know, right?
I'd been through a drive-thru and it was time to eat. I don't know.
Oh. Emergency. My fries are going to get cold.
Exactly. No, my salad, Mindy, not fries.
Oh, can you eat a salad while you're driving? I've tried.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And then my purse, you look in there and there's about 100 receipts.
Oh no.
I mean, it's just bad. And so I need to clean all that out. And Marie, when you said you cleaned out your email box, I opened my email and my inbox has 101,980 emails.
Oh, that would stress me out so much.
Well, because I never delete any because I get probably 20 a day and they're all from places that I don't care about. And I have unsubscribed and then they come right back. So I know it's not worth my time. So I think I just need to get a new email address.
I thought this was an interesting idea that I wanted to see what you guys thought. How is the process of calming or refreshing your home different at midlife than it was when you were younger or had younger kids? Are there any new challenges that you didn't anticipate? So I got to thinking about that and I thought, yeah, there really are.
There are some new challenges. Yeah, this was actually, it turned funny in a bad way, because I was thinking about when the kids were little, it was just keeping up. It was a lot of repetitive cleaning, with particular toys and spaces. Well, now that my kids are older, it's things that you think about baby proofing. Well, anyone that has teenagers, it's a real thing. We need to teenage proof our homes because as soon as they start hanging out in your spaces, you realize I better not have anything expensive in that room because they're going to knock over that lamp. They're going to jump all over the furniture somehow. They're going to eat on it. They're going to be all over the floor. And so your space has to be teenage proof.
Right.
And maybe I could even say male proof. But girls, they're just as rough on furniture and spaces. They really are.
Yeah.
And then their cars. Like my son Grant left the window open in his car.
Oh no.
And it rained. He did not say anything. And he had food in there. He had clothes in there. He had half-used water bottles rolling around in there. I mean, everything under the sun was in this car. And
He should be my son.
Oh, Julie, I got in the car with him. I said, what is that awful smell? It had molded. So we had to take it to a detail shop. First, we made him clean it all out. It was unbelievable. We had to take it to a detail shop, and it cost a fortune. They had to bomb it. They had to keep it over the weekend and bomb the car. So yes, there are definitely new challenges as your kids get older. Things that, you know what, I'm sorry that I'm telling you, but the messes sometimes are bigger and worse.
And more expensive, obviously.
Way more expensive.
Oh, man. Julie, what did you think about?
It got easier to get rid of stuff that I had held on to that were my kids' belongings just after the years had passed. So I really feel like that's been easier to declutter their closets. I've gone through their rooms, and gotten rid of the things that were theirs that were still laying around. And the Konmari Method does say not to pack up stuff and send to your parents' house, and not to let your kids leave stuff in your house, because that's just cluttering up your life. But my daughter said she didn't mind if I got rid of all of her American Girl dolls. She didn't care about them. But I feel like that's something worth holding on to for grandkids. Like I do, since I do have the space, I don't mind holding on to some of those things for her, because she would probably have to get rid of them. So I hold on to those things. Something you said, Mindy, about like your house not being teenager proof or man proof. But, and this kind of goes along with the Hygge thing, but I really like my house better, and even a piece of furniture better, when it has a little scuff, a dent, or a scratch, because then I really feel like it's mine. And I feel like the pressure's off to keep it pristine. Like then I feel like, okay, we can really put our feet on this coffee table now, because it doesn't have a perfect finish. It's been loved a little. It's ours, and it's been affected by age. So I always like it when there's a little scratch on the wall, or a little stain here or dent there. I don't know. It just feels lived in, and I like it better. I don't know. That may seem a little odd, but
no, I don't
you're
think so.
So right.
I think that's why people like to buy used furniture sometimes, because the pressure's off to keep it perfect. It was never perfect to start with.
Right.
All right. What are some personal goals you have for your home that you'd like to see happen this year? Not necessarily like a project, because we all have those, but is there anything where it's like a transformation of function, or a feel, or like a new mission? So what are some things that you'd like to do that you feel would make your home more calming and refreshing to you in this area?
This was easy for me because I know that in this next year, we will be hopefully selling our home in Knoxville and transitioning our stuff here to Pennsylvania, and needing to find a home in Pennsylvania. A goal of mine, I mentioned earlier, is to sell probably half to 3/4 of the stuff in the home that's in Knoxville currently. We've lived without it for 4 months. There's pieces of furniture that we functionally need, but there's so much stuff that we really don't need, especially because I will never buy a house that is that large ever again.
Yeah.
It's too much space. It was overwhelming to own a home. It's 7,600 square feet, and we have comfortably lived in probably 1,500 square feet for the past 4 months.
Right.
For us as a family, it's more about the yard. So we just need to have a big yard. And so, yes, my goal is to just purge a lot of stuff, to keep it simple on the home front. So I look forward to that. I look forward to finding a new home here and simplifying our life now that I've seen how much we can do without.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be it's going to be fun to see what you pick out. I know your next home might end up being a rental, so that really wouldn't be
Right.
a good representation of what you would necessarily choose. But when you
Right.
do go to buy a home again, it will be interesting to see the choices you make into comparison to what you had before.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was thinking about was that we have a relatively small home for the size of our family. And I've always tried to use every space, but I'm always trying to find ways to use every space even more efficiently. So I feel like there are ways that we could use our bonus room better. Nobody likes to go in the bonus room. It's cold because it's above the garage, so even though it's heated and cooled, it's always not quite the temperature. And also, it's kind of a catch-all room. It actually serves 3 purposes right now. My son has always slept in there. Then my husband also has his office space in there. And then we also have a couch and TV, toys that I think, should I keep or not? But that's probably why no one likes to hang out in it, because it serves too many functions. There's not. So I'd really like to take a look at that room and just say, you know, Marie, are you really going to save all these toys? Let's pass them on to someone that can use them. You know, obviously Davis probably still needs a space to sleep in, but is there a different way we can arrange things? You know, just can we make it more of a hangout spot? I don't know, but I do think that just repurposing that area might be a little bit better. Julie, did you have anything that you thought you might change?
Well, we're doing a bathroom remodel, and that's something we've planned for over a year. We couldn't decide if we actually wanted to do it or not, and we decided to go ahead with that. So that's exciting. It's not necessary. You know, it's not something that had to be done. It's just a nice to be done. So I'm grateful for that. But I don't know, just following along with what we talked about with hospitality, just continuing to use our house and have it open to people. And maybe more so on a less planned, more casual. Over the holidays, I had a few people actually just drop by. And that was really, like, they commented later on how nice that was to just be able to be in someone's home and relax for a few minutes. You know, not very long, just so I would like to maybe make our home more available for that kind of thing. You know, like one time we had to meet about something we were planning. And I went to somebody's house for breakfast. She had just pulled a quiche out from Kroger, you know? And I thought, why couldn't I do that? Why do we always have to meet at restaurants? Why couldn't I say, swing by for breakfast? You know, I'd like to do more of that kind of stuff. Part of that goes along with the whole Hygge thing, which I've been reading and talking about, just making our home warm and cozy and inviting and a good atmosphere, a place to be together with people we care about.
No, that's great. That's a great, you know, I so wish that dropping in on people was acceptable. And yet at the same time, I would be absolutely horrified if somebody knocked on my door and wanted to drop in. So there's that catch-22.
Well, I say drop in. I would say, give me a text and say, where are you in your day? And if I say drop by, you know, really knocking at the front door would be probably just never acceptable, just because.
Don't show up out of the blue and then expect to spend the night.
My mind didn't even go there, Mindy. Okay.
You know, I am really looking forward to being able to be hospitable again. Actually, like when we have a home again, that's one of the things that my heart longs for. I really do look forward to being able to open up our lives again to other people with our home, because it is starting to feel a little lonely to not be able to open our home. We're so used to having people come join us.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, let's end with this question. What is some advice or thoughts that you have for somebody who feels stuck in their stuff? Maybe they want to make some changes, but they feel overwhelmed.
Sometimes you feel overwhelmed by looking at something that is just so big a task, or you feel like it's an elephant. You know, well, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So with this particular question, I would start very small. I would pick one cabinet. I would pick one table surface. If you're feeling excited, maybe one particular room. But if you can just go through one small thing and then experience the joy of having that cleaned out, of having made decisions, and don't just move it to another area. Actually deal with the stuff that you're touching. And you might even have to plan it. You might even have to say, just so that my mind is relieved, I am going to only go through stuff on Monday between 7 and 8 p.m. or whatever time. You know what I mean? If you can just say, I'm going to deal with that at this time during my day or at this time during my week. And then during that time, here's my plan. If you could list all of your spaces and just pick one that's stressing you out and deal with one thing at a time. So start small and enjoy the victory. And then those good, happy feelings will help prompt you to continue on.
Yes, that's excellent advice. Yes. Julie, do you have anything to add?
I also think that minimalism right now is a bit of a fad. And I think you should check your motivation for, if you're just getting rid of stuff because that's what everybody's doing and that's what all the books and all the TV shows are telling you to do. I think you just have to be careful with what's your motivation. Is that something to be proud of and to be known as like, oh, I don't have anything. And, maybe you've gotten rid of all your stuff and you really needed that stuff, I don't know. I do think it's a bit of a fad right now.
It is.
And I just would say check your motivation because a lot of times people get rid of stuff just to get more. Are you sending trucks of stuff to the Goodwill and then going out shopping and filling up your house again? So that's not a good reason to get rid of stuff.
Yeah. And try to get rid of things and then immediately actually get rid of them. If you keep them where your kids are going to walk by and say, oh, no, that's not good. Like, just if you don't think they'll ever notice, then just slip it out the door. Because if you ask other people in your family, someone's going to find a reason why you need to keep that.
Yeah, that's why those SpongeBob right out
DVDs.
to Goodwill.
And also, I was thinking, it's not. If you feel comfortable, invite a friend who loves to do stuff like that. Like, I'm telling you, if someone said, hey, will you help me clean up my closet? An objective eye can be ruthless. Now, I would have to go into it and say, now, look, you can't be offended if I say toss it. But if you really just need some objective eyes, there's no shame in that. And there are plenty of people that enjoy doing it. It's always so much easier to help other people get rid of their stuff than it is to get rid of your own. So then maybe you can return the favor.
So true.
Hey, and if you can just move houses, go ahead and move.
Very true. Yes. So
leave it all behind.
I'm kidding.
No, I think don't wait until you have mice in your closet to clean out.
Or gum stuck on your steering wheel.
Or a radiating aroma that makes you sick to your stomach.
All right. And if anyone does a big transformation after hearing this episode, we would love to see before and afters. Love it. Either email them to us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. Share them with us on social media. We love a good before and after.
And if you have found my husband's wedding ring, could you let me know?
That would really improve Mindy's marriage.
And don't send me any SpongeBob DVDs, no matter what my husband says.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. This was a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
I loved it.
All right. Bye-bye. Friends, we're so glad you joined us today. We'd love to hear your questions and comments about today's episode or any suggestions you have for future topics. You can find us at Midlife Matters Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also contact us on our website, midlifematterspodcast.com. You'll find the show notes for today's episode there, so if you need a link to anything we talked about, check it out. We hope you'll join us right here next Wednesday. Until then, we hope you have a great week. See you then. Bye.